Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. I got another wonderful old antique knife here, vintage pocket knife. This is a Kent, and it needs some, it needs some TLC. We got some rust issues on it, as you can see right there. The spade blade's pretty rusty, really bad on that side, and there's a good shot of the clip point. Main blade, you can see it's a Kent, New York City, USA. Got its rust issues there. And we'll look at the punch. And there's our punch. It's pretty bad too, isn't it? Yeah, so we're going to get it into some rust remover, but first, if you look down in there, you can see there's a lot of stuff down in there. Let's get this stuff scraped out. First step, see what all kinds of stuff we can get out of here. What is this right here? Oh, wait a minute. That's another blade. No, it's not. Piece of wood. Almost looked like another punch blade or something. Just scrape this out here a little bit. Get rid of as much of that stuff as we can. And you can see the sidewalls are a little bit rusty there too on the liners. So it's going to need a good soaking. All this old dirt or pocket lint stuff out of here that we can. Oh boy. You know what I'm going to do before I even get started? I'm going to hit it with some sandpaper real quick. See if we can get some of that stuff out of there. It's okay if you scratch it up down in there a little bit. Nobody looks down in there. But we want to make sure we get rid of all the rust. And if we can get rid of some of the dirt in the process before we start soaking, why, hopefully the soaking will be a little bit more effective. Okay. Just take a swab here real quick. Oh my. That made a big difference already. Okay, let's get it soaking. And because of how tough this rust looks right there, we'll probably let it soak for several hours. Into the rust remover we go. Well, it's only soaked for a little over an hour, and you can see all the stuff down in the bottom, and you can see the discoloration here. Look at that. So, since I don't have all day to stay and monitor this knife, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to rinse it off. We'll check it here after an hour. And this is one thing, a lot of people have been watching refurbishing videos and want to start doing it at home too. My best advice is always monitor what you're doing. I've never had a problem with the rust remover destroying covers or anything like that, but you just never know. So always monitor. Check and see. If I can get a hold of it here and hang on to it. I'm going to put it in some fresh water here just to rinse it off. You can see that rusty stuff coming out of there yet. Let's throw her in there. Pretty dirty, isn't it? Okay, let's move this stuff out of the way. Get it down in there. I rinse it off so I can handle it. And we'll just take a look. So all of these steps that I do, again, if I had all day long just to work on this, I probably would have just let it soak a little longer and then went right to cleaning the blades, but I can't do that today. I got to get off to work. So, take your time, have patience, If you have to do these steps over and over 2 or 3 times, why, do so. I mean, it's just a little bit of time, a little bit of extra work, having to clean it off each time, and especially with the mineral oil. But there you can see we're wiping off a lot of stuff already. And again, you don't want to let it soak more than what you have to, because it will really darken the blades, and it's that much more work trying to get the blades cleaned again. Okay, hold on just a second. Had to move some things around, but look at down in there already. We're making a difference. So what I want to do is I want to throw it in mineral oil, and this way I go to work, and then tomorrow morning get up. There we go. We'll just wipe off the mineral oil and get back to it. But you got the 1-2 punch with the rust remover, and then you got the lubrication effect of the mineral oil, and it will help break down and soak in and help neutralize some of the rust also. So let's let her soak. Well, now let's take a look at this beauty after we gave it a good soaking. She soaked for about 12 hours or so. Oh, see that? See the crud that's going to wipe off of here? Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yep. Now this is kind of messy, wiping the mineral oil off. Got a little something there. I don't know what that is. But she's looking better already, isn't she? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Boy, this is messy. Oh, this is the fun of it, though. This is the fun of it. Look at those back springs. They're looking a lot better already, aren't they? They sure are. Oh, sorry. There goes the furnace. It's going to kick on. Sorry about the background noise. Take a look down in there. That looks a lot better already. A lot better already. That stuff you get wiped out of there. Oh yeah. And like I have said, you do these steps over and over. If you have one spot that's extremely rusty still, you can always throw it back in, let it soak some more in the rust remover. Back in the mineral oil, back and forth. Patience. Just a lot of patience. See that there? Getting rid of all that rust down in there. Oh, snap. Half stop. Snap. Some snap. Check out these back springs real quick. Always want to clean them off. See there? That'll affect your walk and talk. Oh yeah. Now one thing I like to do is sometimes when it's soaking, every couple hours take it out and just work the blades back and forth. Loosen that stuff up. See there, we just did that a few times. Get more stuff out of there. Oh, this is just cleaning up like a gym dandy, isn't it? I'm a-loving it. Oh yeah. Not so good a snap there, but Now this one has a half stop, so that spring, there we go. I'm gonna do it something like that. See that crud we're getting off of there? Oh yeah, get rid of that dirty oil. Okay, let's start by trying to clean these tangs just a little bit. I'm gonna use a wire brush, a little wire brush. Always want to wear some eye protection when you're using these little wire brushes, because sometimes it'll some little wires will come out and throw out. Don't want to get one of them in your eye. And just very gently clean like that. Don't want to use a wire brush out on the blade. It'll really scratch it up. See what a difference. Oh, that half stop's really. See that spring in there? Nice. All right. Now it's time to just actually start cleaning on the back springs and on the blade. Let's get started with some rubbing compound here. It just helps to clean that metal off. That's what we're starting with. You notice the fancy file work on there? That file work? Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? I'm going to be very careful not to hit the covers. There, just that little bit. Really cleaned them up good. I don't know what that little spot is there. What is that? Ah, there we go. Now it's coming off. Let's just hit this real quick one more time. See what else we can get. Yep, came off. Whatever that was, it came off. Back springs are looking pretty good, aren't they? Alrighty, let's start on one of these blades. Not bad for the first pass, is it? These are going to clean up really nice. Okay, I'm going to work on these other two blades here just a little bit off camera, and I'll be back. Wow, can you believe the improvement in this knife in just a few minutes? Just a few short minutes of work. Look at the difference. Got a little bit more detailing to do yet, but haha, what a big difference. This knife is just really coming along. Now I want to get down in here and I want to check down here in the channels, and like along in here we want to make sure that's all nice and clean. And I can almost sometimes use a wire brush or a little piece of sandpaper and sand those areas off, because you do get a little bit of rust on there. Let me try the wire brush. Sometimes it reaches down in there fine, other times it doesn't quite fit down in there. Let's just see what happens. And again, I'm going to target this area right in there. Let's just see what happens. Looks pretty good. Again, the big thing is now, those parts are not highly polished or mirror polished. So you're just wanting to make sure you got all the rust and crud off of them. Looks like we do. Well, I have the wire brush out. Now this down in here looks pretty good. Let's just check. A little bit of stuff. Sometimes the wire wheel don't want to make it down into those tight spaces, but let's see what we can do here. Yeah, it's pretty clean. Looks like we got some crud here. And just one of those things, you just keep working on it, keep working on it. Eventually it all comes out. part looks pretty clean, but as you can see right down in here, it's hard with the wire wheel to get down in there. Sometimes you can just scrape on a little bit as such, or take a little piece of sandpaper, get down in there, sand on them just a little bit, just get that stuff loosened up. Yeah, there's no rust on there. No rust. The top of the blades, sometimes I forget to show you that, but this area right here, again, just a light sanding on them. We'll clean those off. Yeah, that looks good, don't it? Now these types of implements, tools, they're awful hard to get clean sometimes, because it's hard to get this thing down in there and around, but a little bit of patience, but I think we've done a pretty good job on it. Okay, let me work on a few more little details and I'll show you the progress. Well, I think this knife is just cleaned up wonderfully. This is what we're looking at right now. I worked on that shield a little bit, but I did it by hand. I didn't want to use a power tool and risk hitting the bone cover there and damaging. But that's what our back springs are looking like. Nice and clean. Those little small bolsters, they look very nice and clean. But just check these blades out. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time on them either. Boy, they just really cleaned up nicely. Yeah, I think it's time to throw it down in the ultrasonic cleaner here and clean out any crud that may have accumulated from the cleaning process. The grit from the sandpaper, excuse me, grit from the sandpaper and other things like that. Cleaning compound. What a difference. Man, what a beautiful knife. See how the mineral oil just brings back some sheen and some luster to that bone? Oh, yeah. So anyway, we got our ultrasonic cleaner here. Get it turned on. And put a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid in there. And it does have warm water in there. I don't know what we'll get off of this or out of this, but we'll see. I'm going to open the blades up just a little bit to help things out. Let's put her in there. And I usually let her go for 5 minutes. That's kind of the preset time on this thing. So here we go. Let's take a little look-see at what we got. Oh, look at that dirty water. Look at all that dirty water. My goodness. Oh, yeah. Got some stuff floating on the top of it even. You see down in there? Pretty dirty. Pretty dirty. Okay, let me turn this off and set this back. And we need to get the knife wiped off. And what I'm going to do is, after I get the water wiped off, I'm going to throw it back in the mineral oil. It's been wet, so let's get it soaked up and lubed up again. See there? Loosened up some more stuff. Oh yeah. So we want to get her dried off, get her soaked up and lubed back up again. And then I want to go over some final thoughts and kind of my philosophy on why I'm cleaning these knives up and how I do it. And yeah, we'll just have a look-see. See there? This is why also you can manipulate these blades back and forth a few times. Sometimes I'll just sit there for like 5 or 10 minutes and just keep doing this, and it keeps rubbing stuff off of those back springs, working it out. I tell you, oh man, I am so happy with how this one is turning out. You wouldn't even think it's the same knife, would you? Wow. So here we go, down in the mineral oil for another good soak. Okay, as we wipe this off and kind of put our final touches and thoughts on this knife here, wanted to talk to you about my philosophy here just a little bit. And, oh, look at that, still getting some dirt out of there. That mineral oil just does wonders. Just look at that knife. Now we do have a couple cracks, minor cracks in the bone there, but it's an old knife. Now I recently did a video on store brand knives. I don't know if I mentioned it already in this video, but you can learn the history on the Kent knives. Kent was the house brand for Woolworth Stores. So kind of a good history there. But, you know, when I first started to refurbish these old knives, which is a fun hobby, and I thoroughly enjoy doing it, I was always trying to get them back to looking like new old stock and working super hard on them and trying to learn how to do that. But over the years here, I've learned, let's just get them cleaned. Let's get rid of the rust. They don't have to look new old stock. Let's make them like you would in a museum, perhaps. So while it's nice and clean and I got the rust off of it all, they're not perfect, but it's still an awful clean knife. Look at that now. Just look at that. Look at those back springs. And the reason I bring this up is when we look at the main blade here, you can see it's split here just a little bit. It's coming apart, and there's a little bit of blade wobble there. So technically the pins should be tightened up on this, the pin. Get rid of that blade wobble. You know, I probably could do it, but it's stretching my abilities at this point. So my biggest goal is if I can get them in this condition, I put them up just a little bit wet, then someday when I have more experience, maybe I will tackle trying to, you know, like on this knife, tighten the pin up. The blade needs sharpened, but I'm not going to sharpen it. Again, kind of a museum piece. This is how the owner left it. It shows use. Has some character to it. And so what I've done, in my mind, what I've done is, well, I've thoroughly enjoyed taking the time to spend on the knife, getting it clean, but to me, I've preserved a piece of history. More than likely, this knife will only end up in a showcase or on a display somewhere and will never be carried and used again anyway. But should somebody some year down the road want to work on tightening the blade up and sharpen it and carry it, they can. But we've preserved it so it doesn't, you know, continually rust. But just look at that. I'm so happy with how this knife came out. And I gotta tell you, I can't spend too much time on each knife. There's going to be a video coming out very, very soon. I just bought a whole big basket of knives and I got a lot of work ahead of me. So I got to work on them rather quick and get them into this condition here where they can be put up and stored and I don't have to worry about the rust. Why, I thoroughly enjoy not only working on the knife. Oh, listen to that half stop. Listen to this. For this old knife, that's pretty good, isn't it? Listen to that snap. We'll see if this one improved any. That one's still a little soft, but it's got some snap to it. If that pin was tightened up, it'd probably have even better snap. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoy making these videos for you. I'm glad everyone enjoys them. If you have any questions on my procedures, why, I've got a playlist with all kinds of refurbishing videos. I did a 2-part series on all my tips and tricks, and I go painstakingly through each step. And I did it in 2 parts because each part is, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes each. But I go step by step. So anyway, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. But for me, one more knife preserved. So until next time, have a very delightful day.